You ready?
Yes, we're here. We're here.
I know.
And we
I know.
live and direct.
I just didn't want it to be
Yeah.
rigid. We got a guest today, though. We got a guest today. Can you please introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Shamaree Brisset. I am a marriage and family therapist turned intimacy coach for women.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, I got a question for you already straight off the bat.
All right.
Can you help him? This guy here,
Who, me?
the one with the bald one. Can you help him? Because
Help me what?
he has major problems in the intimacy area.
Maybe it depends.
What does he need help with? Explain, Dre.
He doesn't love.
Look,
Doesn't know how to love.
Dre got stuck for a second.
I don't love. I know exactly how to love.
No.
I just want him to loosen up. He needs to loosen up today.
Who, me? I am going to be loose. I'm loose, man. I had a long night last night.
We had a good night last night, even though Kev left early. Everybody was disappointed, but I held you down.
Yes.
I held you down. You know, Kev done changed his diet, so he can't take drinking like he used to.
Nah.
He passed out. He was passed out
bro,
before 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I was, bro.
Before 9.
I really haven't. I've been on
Yeah, Leah was so disappointed in him. She was like, but I had to explain to her his diet's a little different. He been tweaking on the diet, but
yeah, right. He went home and did more drugs. So listen.
Oh shit!
I want to know when you got home last night.
Oh,
did you get into a little bit of stuff that
If I got into,
he told her that's what was going to happen.
I told her,
but I guarantee you, I walked his ass to the car, and as I was walking to the car, he looked at me dead in my face. Dre, I swear to God, he looked at me and said, "Man, you know you my A1 day one." I said, "Yeah, Kev, I always got you." Hey, I know that, man. As he's stumbling, you know how big this guy is. His whole body is just over top of me, towering me. So I'm trying to walk him to the car. After the time, I didn't even understand what he was saying when he got in there. Bro. He was like, "I love you, cuz." And then before they left, yo, cuz, can you go grab that bottle of Bacardi I left on the table?
Speaking of towering over people.
No.
What happened when you got home? I'm just curious.
Passed out, dog. That's what happened.
That was fun.
Okay.
That's what happened.
There was no foreplay going on.
No foreplay at all.
Y'all take so long to get to a point. I'm trying.
I know, but
I
understand. So most guys thought a foreplay is I'm just gonna eat some pussy real quick, rubber breast, and get right to it.
I'm guessing that's the wrong approach.
I mean, it's not necessarily a bad one, but I think that people have this very narrow view of what foreplay is supposed to be or what it could be. And I think it's a lot more than that for sure.
So help us out because I always hear from my woman all the time, like, that's all you do. Like, why do you just grope me like that? I'm like,
wait, I can't let that slide. Why do you just grope me like that? You better stop groping your woman.
Who says they're his woman?
Right. So I think that men and women, generally speaking, there's exceptions to everything, but generally speaking, we have different ways of approaching things and like different types of arousal and things that get us in the mood, essentially. So women typically are a little bit more responsive. So like we take into account all of the things. I feel like men usually like, I'm gonna grab you and let's go. Like, and it's easy for you guys to do it that way, but it's not as easy for most women to do it that way. So that's why they say like it takes like all day. It's like a buildup. Like in the morning, say something nice to her. Like all of these things build up to that time because then later I'll be more responsive to you grabbing me. But if you just coming home like, yo, I'm ready. I'm not. I had a stressful day. I'm not thinking about that. So I need something other than that in order to get me in that mind state at all in the first place.
Okay, we're going to get into it now because now, open Pandora's box. My wife says cleaning the house and all that counts as something like that's like, oh, if the house was clean, then I'll be in the mood. And I'm like, what that got to do with us having sex? Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Or is she just trying to BS me?
I think both. So like, obviously it don't really got nothing to do with sex, but if I'm stressed out, if I'm worrying about all these other things, I'm not in the mind state. I'm not in the place to be focused on being sexy. Like I'm just not even trying to be sexy because I know the laundry's not done. I know we gotta worry about taking the kids here or there or whatever it is. Like if I'm thinking about all of those things, kids are not sexy, laundry is not sexy. It's just not. So if I have to worry about that, I'm not gonna be thinking about, oh, he looked mad good right now. Like I'm just not.
Jesus.
All right.
That's why women's brains differ from men's brains
Yeah,
because
the kids could be getting on my nerves and everything. Got motherfuckers be screaming in the other room.
Let me show you how to eliminate all of these situations
Yeah.
for 10-15 minutes.
10, 15
You
minutes.
got 10-15 minutes, and then if it happens to extend it a little longer, well, that's your fault.
Wait, what?
That's what I say. That's just what I say.
I was going to say it won't.
Ricky Bobby taught me if you ain't first, you last.
Oh no.
No, it's not true. I don't live by that moment. I don't live by that.
I'm about to say, I know we laughing.
My wife wouldn't be my wife. But
Mm.
but I'm just saying though, for us men, it's not as difficult to put us in a scenario where we can make it work. So could you answer why it would be more difficult for a woman, especially if you're in a relationship and you know that the sexual attention is needed?
I think because generally, men and women connect in different ways. So a lot of times you'll hear that, like when a person is looking for intimacy, a lot of times when a man is telling me that they're looking for more intimacy, they're looking for the physical. They're looking for, oh, we don't touch each other like we used to. We're not having sex like we used to. Like, I need this. And that's how a lot of men connect to a person. Like if I need to be able to touch you. I need to be able to express this, and I do it physically. Women are not necessarily built that way. Our hormones are different, first of all. So biologically, it's a little bit different. But also, we're brought up to be emotional. We express ourselves. We're brought up to be able to talk and to experience life in other ways. So we're not as physical. So we connect before physical even comes into play. So if we're not connected before physical comes, a lot of times a lot of women don't want to do the physical stuff because they're missing the intimacy emotionally, psychologically, mentally. It's not there. So I'm not trying to share my physical with you because that seems like a second step to the emotional intimacy for a lot of women.
Jeez. See, I think we get a bad rap because
men get a bad rap.
I'm just saying, speaking for us three, if you don't have any type of intelligence or you can't bring good conversation or something like that, we don't necessarily be like, this is something I want to have sex with because she's cute. You know what I'm saying? Like if you could say something dumb and be like, we'd be like,
speaking for himself.
Well, yeah, that's
Kev. I had sex with an idiot, but I ain't gonna make her my girl.
Kev was out there bird dogging.
I had sex with an idiot.
Kev was out there bird dogging. But no, there's been times I've been with Kev and Kev be like, nah. I ain't gonna name them, but after the show I say one name, you'll be like, oh yeah. No, who knows? You might have took that down. I don't know. Now I think about it. Man, you're terrible.
I think we stumbled into something like a good conversation though, because like I'm looking in back of you, right? And I see a book that says better sex. To me, I'm like, how does it get any better than what we already doing? But I'm pretty sure that that's nuanced and that has, you know what I mean? But what does better sex mean to you as a professional?
I think that it can always get better, honestly. Like even if it's great, it could get better. Always. But generally, it's when it's beneficial, mutually beneficial anyway, because technically, like we could be in it and you might be having a great time, but I'm not having a great time. So at least all parties that are involved are having fun, pleasure, connection, whatever it is for you, because every person is different. Some people have sex to connect. Some people have sex as a spiritual experience. Some people do it just because they need a stress reliever. So like whatever it is for you, being able to maximize what that thing is. So if it's for pleasure, maximizing pleasure. If it's for stress relief, making sure that it's reducing stress, whatever that is for you, just timesing that times 100.
Wow. Okay. Hey, fellas, what would y'all classify yourself as? Do you have sex more as a stress reliever? Because I had to think about it as she said it. I'm like, yo, I think especially when I was working, sometimes it's that for me where I'm like, yo, I just need that. I had a rough week, rough day. I need that. She might not be on the same type time. I didn't think about that until right now. Like, yo, maybe she just that ain't what she wanted for right now. And that's why we not clicking at the times.
I've Man, I've had stress sex before. We've had sex because we were both in the mood, you know what I mean? It's been times where we've had a great day, which just led to,
Yeah,
the
I love those.
intimacy. Those are always awesome. But um I know sometimes it's done just for me. I know this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I can tell. You feel what I'm saying? It's not
Mhm.
the vibe isn't the same. And I know, but also she knows what I'm doing it just for her. It goes both ways.
It goes
You know
both
what I'm
ways.
saying? It doesn't, it's not just because I'm a
Mhm.
man doesn't necessarily mean that that's all I want to do is have sex. I mean, there's been times my wife would tell you, I've turned it down, like, nah, I'm good. I'm tired. I don't feel I'm you know what I mean? I'm not really in the mood. I'm not feeling it right now. You know what I'm saying? Which means I'm probably more worried that I'm not going to perform the way I should perform for you, or I'm just fucking
Right.
tired and I don't really
Yeah.
want to deal with anything that has to do and if you're really that thirsty to do it, I'm just gonna lay here and you can see how it feels for a woman when a man has to go through the same thing. but I've you know what I mean, I've gotten to the age and where I have to actually like really want to. I have to want it. It's not just like, oh yeah, you're looking good. I'm about to take that. Nah, I could be looking at yo, you are beautiful today. You want to go do something? Let's enjoy this day now. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully the day will max out with a great experience, a sexual experience, or whatever the case may be. Us just laying down, watching movies, whatever the case may be at the time, to inflame the love that we share.
Man,
But I don't necessarily always want to have sex
I do.
with I bet you do. Like I said, that name is probably a takedown.
I do.
UFC.
I do. It's
Ground and
yeah.
All right.
Hey, bro, listen. For me, it is like I could go a couple of days without sex, but by the fourth or fifth day, it's like, all right, I don't care what you want to do. You can lay here, or we can both enjoy this. But it's happening.
I just said that. See, you see, Kev don't matter. It don't matter if you're a
Hey,
ragdoll or
listen.
not. Look at Dre's face of disgust.
Well, no, because you said it nicer. You
Yeah,
said
I
it
know.
terribly.
Listen, bro.
Yeah, you said it terribly.
I do say terrible, but I warm her up, and
I
ain't like
use
I
it
leave
as
her.
me being the example of the rag doll, but he's letting you know that you don't care if you're a rag doll. You can get the Raggedy Ann and Andy.
But that's when you get into the see, you know what I do think though, as we get older, I'm not sure your age. I'm not going to ask you that unless you feel like offering up that information. I'm going to leave it there. But I'm 38. These two guys are 39. Um, I'm married, been married for 11 years. These guys are in very long-term relationships, about to get married. Like it's been a while. So I do feel like as we get older as men, sometimes I'm not gonna say that we lack in the oral sex department because I mean I'm one of the weird guys who like to do it. But
Nothing weird
it
about that.
it kind of goes differently now. It's almost like I'll be ready to do that and you kind of get the all right, yo, you done? Let's do the other stuff because that's
You're
and it's
taking
not
too
because
much
I'm not
time
good
on
at it.
me.
It's not because I'm not good at it. I've been doing it for a while, but it's more like that gets me in her. That gets her in the mood to do the other stuff, and she's like, I want that. You know what I mean? So it's almost like for me, it's like, yo, is it important still? Obviously, it's important, but I'm curious about the older you get. Is it as important? Was that weird?
I think that for some people it is, but it also kind of depends because as we get older, we learn more about ourselves, or hopefully that's kind of the point of life. You learn more the older you get. So
Right.
ideally, you're learning more about what you like, more about what you dislike. You're hopefully keeping it somewhat exciting, trying to do different things every so often, right? We get in patterns, obviously. I'm married to, been with him on and off for like 10 years. So like that's been the one. So you fall into patterns. You do the same thing. You find out what works, so you do that. But as much as you can, you want to be in certain different things so that even if you're tired of the one thing, you know it works. So obviously that's going to be a go-to, but like being able to switch it up and try something else or add something else so that it doesn't feel like it's the same thing all the time. And even just changing the approach sometimes. So like I always tell people change like locations, change the pressure, change hands. So like, you know, if you usually use your right hand for everything and like that's your dominant hand, use your left hand. See what that feels like. So like changing small things can make it feel like a new experience, even though it's the same thing.
I hope Dre's listening because
I never even thought of that. Like real shit.
No, Dre
has
that
changing your hand. That's the stranger. Remember?
Nah, Dre has to,
right.
Dre has to listen because this is the same guy that fucking is still doing missionary with his wife for the past 11 years.
Oh shit!
You would be disgusted at what I do with my wife over the past 11 years. You would be disgusted at it. Okay, so I think you need to be quiet there, buddy.
Oh man,
getting weird really fast.
Been together for a long time, man.
Yeah. Hey man, listen.
But I'm sorry.
When last time you had for our sex? Let me ask you.
You gonna put it on me, right?
No. I'm gonna ask this. We have a guest here. Do female like sometimes the disrespectful sex? Like, even though you've been together for a while, let me treat you like I just met you tonight and do you dirty. Does that excite women sometimes or no?
Some women, yeah. I think it does. And I think also I talked about this on a different podcast. We talking about friends with benefits, but the way that you have sex with like someone that you're just having sex with versus the way that you have sex with someone that you've been in a long-term relationship, I think for men, usually that's very different. Like, you know what type of girls to do this to, or you know what type of person to do this to. And I think for men, that oftentimes can be very different. So like you saying the disrespectful sex, like as if that's not something you can do with your wife anyway, because you can. Like that. It doesn't, just because she now has a title of wife doesn't make your interest different. If that's what you like, that's what you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I had disrespect
for us, it's definitely different when it comes to somebody being new and then someone that you're used to, because I feel like when it's the new person, you got to prove something so they can be somebody in the future to be there again. So when you're on that first time, you going all out. Whatever you gotta, Kev. Now you know.
Oh, I had.
That's the all out king. And you going all out. I mean, I've gone. Not everybody I've gone out. Some people are just, you know what I mean. But I've gone all out before. But Kev, you were the all out king.
Yeah, but even with my girl, I've been with her for a long time. I have to because I'm in a relationship for so long. I have to prove to myself that, hey, I still have that in me. So some night she gets there and she looks at me like, what happened to you last night? Like
you crazy.
Hey, I'm like, I just had to show you like that I still got it, that I ain't losing. So I don't want her ever to leave me and I lose that part of me.
No, I think I'm with you on that.
It's funny, but
no, I'm with you on that.
That's a huge insecurity though, for real. Like in all reality.
Keyword insecurity.
I mean? Yeah, because you got something to prove. You going hard at it to make sure that you can accomplish this goal. And once you get that accomplishment, you're like, yeah, it's like a sigh of relief. Like, whoo! I ain't know for a second. I ain't know what's going on, but I'm glad it's there still. You know what I mean? But
confidence is crazy with men, and that's a big thing. I know women have that issue as well, but with men, we really do sometimes be like, you might have had this sex the same way for a long time. We've all been there. You know what I'm saying? Where you like, is that what it's going to be for the rest of this? And then you have that month span or however long it take where you like, I've been knocking it out the box lately. You know what I mean? But it doesn't always come like that. Confidence can play a big part. How can because I'm trying to ask this in a question, but I don't want it to come off crazy.
Man, just say it. God damn.
No, because it could work both ways. As far as working on each other's confidence to be able to continue to do that? Is there like any advice that you can give? I don't mean to make that part of the interview, but I'm real curious.
I mean, when it comes to confidence, there's kind of different kind of categories that I break it down into. So like first, it's all about like affirmations and like, hyping you up. Like, what do you do well? Like acknowledging the things that you do well. And this goes both ways. So like acknowledging it to yourself, but also to your partner or partners, whoever is in your life, making sure that you're affirming yourself and affirming them and vice versa. The next category that I kind of focus on is self-improvement. So even if you're a great person, I think I'm a great person. I'm an amazing person, but there's always things that you can work on. Always.
Sure.
So there's going to be areas that maybe you're not the best at, right? So what those things are, being able to express it in an effective way, first and foremost, because like you guys mentioned earlier. So sometimes you could say something, you could say the same exact thing, but how you say it definitely makes an impact. So first of all, being able to express what is missing or what you would like more of or what you would like someone to improve on and vice versa. So if they got something that maybe you feel like you need to do better or they feel like you need to do better, making sure that you're open to also hearing it. And then the third thing is like really actually doing the things, because I mean, I could hype you up all day. I could tell you you're amazing, you're great, but actually putting stuff into action, like actually doing things. So like you say, we're going to work on X, Y, and Z. What is the plan to work on X, Y, and Z? Like when are we going to start working on this? How often are we going to work on this? What are we going to do? Like we need a strategy.
I don't know if y'all caught that.
Yeah, I called it.
No, seriously. Because I'm thinking about that right now, and I'm like, yo, all right. I might be able to say, because sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll catch myself, because there's always that thing where it's like you hear people say, oh, well, my partner stopped telling me they love me or this and that. So I'll make it a point to say, out of nowhere, hey, I love you, boom, boom. And my wife is weird because she'll just give me that look like, the fuck is you talking about? Like, why are you telling me that? And I'm like, I just wanted you to know I love you. Man, you just saying that because you want some later on. But you got to put I mean, it might be true in some ways.
It is true, but it's still how you feel.
It's how I feel. But at the same time, what she said about having actionable items, you don't just say that you love her. You say, you know what I mean? You might send her flowers to her job, or I'm naming a lot of, other stuff that's normal, but it's stuff like that. And maybe sometimes I do forget that part of it. Like, yo, why don't I make sure the house is clean when she comes home? Why don't I just do nice stuff for her to also back that up? So yeah, I kind of felt that. I'm gonna be honest.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hey, yo,
I hope so. Because I'm the only one.
This firing squad today, boy.
It's
a firing squad today.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Bring some honesty to this conversation. Like,
nah, but you're right though.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we might take for granted just the small things to make somebody happy. It don't even have to be nothing extravagant. You know what I mean? Make a little dinner or have dinner waiting for them every now and then. You know what I mean? Clean the bathroom. I hate cleaning the goddamn bathroom. I'll tell you that. You know what the fuck I hate doing, yo, with a fucking passion? I hate folding clothes. I hate them. And when we wash clothes, it's an overabundant amount of clothes to fold. So me being the guy, you know where to go? In the basket. Upstairs in the bedroom waiting. You either tag team folding these joints or you fold these joints. We can do it, but now I've started to actually fold all of our clothes on my own with the most dreadful of feelings. Okay. I don't like it. I don't. Yeah, man. For real. No, that's perfectly worded. Initiative, taking the initiative to do things that you would just want. You just know your partner would want done. You know what I mean?
I get my girl in the mood. I go cut the grass, go cut some trees down.
You like that? She don't.
Yeah,
like
he likes that.
Oh, she know. I'm gonna tell you why
he think because he's doing it with his shirt off while he on a diet. It's
I'm gonna tell you why she like it. I catch my woman every time I'm doing handiwork around
peeking
the house,
out the window.
She be just staring.
Talking to the mic though.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can.
All right, cool. She be staring at me. I catch her staring. So when I'm doing like handyman work around the crib, she be like, I'm like, yo, what are you looking at? She like nothing, just enjoying it. I'm like, cool. So I know that gets her in
Either
the mood.
either gets her in the mood, or she got a good tactic for your ass to get your ass outside to cut the lawn, doing all these chores in one day. Nothing. Do your thing, hubby.
Have you
Whenever
ever
you get
heard
done, she go to sleep.
anybody say, you know what's gonna get me in the mood? Go outside and start cutting random trees down. Go outside and cut that grass. Oh man, I love it when you come in stinking.
Yeah, come and drain that septic tank, okay?
Clean up.
Let me
Get
get
in there,
googly
clean it
eyed
up.
over that.
She likes when I do handyman work. I'm guessing that's a way of foreplay, man. That's her thing of foreplay, getting it ready for the evening. So now let me ask you a question about foreplay. How important is toys in the bedroom as far as having some stuff to play with in the bedroom? Not necessarily the penetration toys, but the feathers, tickling, all that shit. Like, how important is that thing right there?
I always tell people that they should explore in that way, just like with sensate focus and like exploring like the whole body. So not even like you said, just like vibrators and dildos, which everybody thinks of first when you say toys, but there's a lot. If you've been to a sex store before, there's a lot of other things as well. So definitely exploring other parts of the body as well, because there are tons of sensitive areas on the body. And sometimes we don't pay attention to those. So like the small of your back, the back of your knees, all of these are erogenous zones for most people. Of course, everybody's different. There's going to be exceptions, but that is a very common thing. And I think a lot of times we don't incorporate those parts of the body. We go in for the key sex parts, and that's what we do, and that's it. And so I think it's important that you incorporate all of the body. There's the skin is the biggest sex part on your body. Like making sure you're using all of it is very important. So I think that definitely feathers, even if it's things that you have in your house. So like a lot of times people don't want to go to the sex store. They don't want to go buy toys or feel like they have sex toys, whatever stigma or taboo. They feel like that's like, nah, I can't do that. But you have ice, you have water, hopefully you have heat or AC. So playing with temperature, you have sheets, you have towels. I'm assuming most people do. Like, you have these things. These are all things that you can utilize in those ways. If you have like a fuzzy blanket or a fuzzy pillow, those different textures, those are all things that you can utilize. So it doesn't have to be like a sex toy if you're uncomfortable with that, but there's plenty of ways to be creative.
Dre, I'm looking at your face.
Yeah,
I gotta ask because here's the thing. I'm just to make you aware, having women on our podcast and really talking about this stuff, we don't get this chance much often, so we're asking a lot of questions. Playing with the temperature, you got to clue me in on that one, because I got heat and I got air, and I want to know how to use them. I got
heat and I got air.
I want to know how to use them.
So I mean, it depends. So right, like with like ice or like with wax and candles and things like that, that's a way to play with it like very acutely, because obviously ice is very cold and wax can be very hot. But also just changing your AC, like if you turn it up or down, your body reacts, right? So like when you hot, like your body, all the things that you experience when you're hot is gonna happen, right? And if you're cold, like it's a different reaction, right? It's not the same exact reaction when you're hot, when you're cold. So it's the same thing within the context of your sexual encounter. You can change the temperature in the room, or change the temperature, like, when you flip your pillow over and the cool side of the pillow, like all of these things are playing with temperature.
Yo, y'all never did that before?
What, flip the cool side of the pillow?
Not that. Like you rub the ice. You rub the ice on her to cool her down.
I've done
then you
tricks
get
with
your
ice.
mouth so little that you blow the heat to make her feel it.
It's been a long time,
bro.
I'm not gonna lie that I got ice, man. I'm learning.
Not gonna lie that I got ice.
No. No, I say it's been a long time.
Dre,
I'm not gonna lie since I've used it.
When the last time with your woman?
I want you to ask yourself that question, by the way.
Recently,
you seem to be.
I will go get a piece of ice and stick in my mouth and go eat the box. When the last time you done that? She feels that.
Calls it the ice box.
Feel that cold sensation of your tongue on her clitoris.
It's been a while. It's been. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a while.
You gotta go do that tonight.
Yo, Kev
I'm
directing
gonna
your
have to wait a week.
sexual fucking.
Yeah, no, but I think that a lot of times we try something, like maybe we do it like once or twice, or like we do it for like a good week or whatever, and then we forget about it and we don't necessarily do it again because it's like, oh well, I've been there, done that, we did that, it was cool. But a lot of times people, they'll do something and then they won't do it again.
Now, do women enjoy foreplay having maybe a pornographic movie in the background, or is that like a big turnoff?
I think it depends on the woman, but I think it also depends on the porn. So when women watch porn, I think a lot of times when people watch porn in general, it's more about the fantasy of it and just the idea of it, or even just curiosity. So like I look up things that I have no interest in doing ever in life. Like I'm just curious to see how other people do it. Like, honestly, like I would not want to do that myself. And so it just depends. So like people have different interests, things that they're into when they watch their porn. And that might not be something they want to share with another person, or it might not be something that turns them on in the moment. If you like something that I'm not into and you choose the film, like it might ruin it for me. So like it really depends on the people. You really have to know your person. You have to know what they're into in order to find something that's going to be exciting for both parties. And yeah, it depends. You really want to have that conversation first so you don't make somebody feel real crazy
or uncomfortable. Dre, I mean, yeah, because my man right there, Dre, owns a lot of pornographic. Well, he used to.
What are we doing here?
I'm just saying.
What are we doing?
y'all keep getting on me, so I'm going to fire on you.
I haven't got on you this whole episode.
Okay, listen. All right, I'm sorry. Listen.
So I got a bunch of questions, but I'm not going to sit and hog up the whole interview.
No, keep asking questions, bro. This is interesting because it seems like you
fire them off.
Fire them off, bro.
Okay, where you from?
I'm from Connecticut originally.
Okay, the only reason why I'm curious is because I know like I ain't gonna say the culture is different, but obviously if we grew up in the city or something like that, then ways we do things are going to be a little bit different. That's why I asked. But for me, a lot of times it sounds corny, having a good date, you know what I'm saying? Like it can really set the mood for me. And not to make everything about sex, obviously, because marriage and relationships and all that, dating is more than just sex. But a lot of times, like a good date, even though I'm a man, kind of gets everything going for me. You know what I mean? Like it starts from there. Like with I guess the question I really want to ask is, with women, can we ruin our chances straight up from the date? Like, can we just ruin our chances from that point on? It sounds like a stupid question, but I've made some magic happen.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of times people in general, they get themselves in trouble doing too much sometimes, or doing too little too, obviously. But yeah, definitely what you do or don't do can definitely impact the decision, because obviously when we are dating or finding someone, like obviously usually the first thing is that physical attraction, right? So I think you're attractive. Let's go out. Let's do something. Let's get to know each other, whatever. But then the more you start talking, the more you spend time around each other, I start to know who you are as a person, your personality, the things you're into, and those things can start to turn a person off. So if we go on a date, you're rude to the waitress or whomever, right? I'm starting to see things about you. So yeah, you could be physically attractive. That's one thing. But now I'm seeing all of these other things, or maybe the date was it was whack. Like you just didn't plan a good date. You didn't care about what I'm interested in. You just chose something you thought would impress me, or whatever the case is, right? So now I'm seeing more to you, and now I don't like that. So it could definitely change it.
Wow. Okay.
Dre's writing all this stuff down. Look at you. Got your notepad out. I got my notepad out too. This is a cheat.
Clearly, you don't need a notepad.
I do.
Like today, you're just full of them today.
No, man.
I'm trying to tell you.
Nah, listen. You know what? Because what she said is interesting. Because I remember talking to somebody, an older woman. She was like, "Yeah, y'all guys sometimes can talk yourself right out of having sex or out of anything. Say less, listen a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
Yeah.
keyword.
I gave you two ears, one mouth, man. Listen more
Right.
than you speak.
Absolutely. So, with that said,
Go ahead, Trey. Do you
how'd you
think?
get started doing what you do? Now, how'd you
So
get started?
I've been a therapist. I've always kind of wanted to be a therapist since I was like 12, 13. I decided that's what I wanted to do. So I've been a therapist for about almost 10 years. And so that's kind of what I do: marriage and family therapy, mental health counseling. I've worked with all types of people all over the place. And so I've always liked to help people. I've always had an interest in relationships, and just the dynamics of relationships and why we do what we do in relationships. So always been interested in it. But more recently, I started to do the coaching thing because with counseling, I don't know if you guys know a lot about therapy and counseling, but you can only see clients that are in the state that you hold your license, right? And so if I'm right now, I'm in Vegas. So I can only technically see people who also live in Nevada, right? And so that limits who you can help, obviously, right? So I don't particularly like that a whole lot, just because my own personal experiences in life also kind of led me to going to therapy, led me to looking for coaches and people who could help me. And in that process, I didn't find a whole lot of people who looked like me that could help me with my particular issues. And so living in Nevada, I I don't know that much about it. I'm new here, but from what I see, there's not a whole lot of Black people, and so I could probably help some people for sure. But there's millions of Black women in this world that are looking for someone that can help them that looks like them, and I would never be able to help them as a therapist unless they move to Nevada. So that kind of made me switch over to do the coaching. I could see anyone anywhere in the world technically, and I'm able to reach people who feel connected to me. So if you feel like you're drawn to me as a person, you like my story, you like what I do, there's no limitation on the help that I can give to you.
You know what? I always found coaching interesting. I think that's taken a big leap in all types of industries today. Like people do podcast coaching, people do. I think it's a like you said, it's a stronger connection that you can make with a bunch of people rather than a couple people at a time. If you do like just like consulting where you are or therapy and where you are now, the main differences between coaching and being a therapist or therapy, I guess is the correct term. Um, would you say that people are more interested in the coaching than the therapy? Because some people kind of, you know, hear the word therapy and get scared away.
I think that there is a little bit more of the stigma for sure. So like some people are like, I ain't going to therapy, or even like now that people are a little bit more open to the idea of it, they're like, oh no, yeah, therapy's cool. But I'm not gonna go. Like it's cool, you could go. I think you should go. That's great that you're doing it, but I'm not gonna do that. So I think we're in that space. So when they hear therapy, a lot of people are resistant to it, or at least have like a guard up. They judge it more. With coaching, like you said, there's coaches for everything. Like everyone in this world has had a coach. If you played a sport, if you had a tutor of some sort before, like everyone has had a coach at some point in their life. So it's not as crazy. Not everyone has had a therapist though. So they feel like, oh, nah, that's for crazy people, or like it's not to the point, it's not that bad. I don't need to go to therapy. It's not that bad. But essentially, like, the main difference with that is that with therapy you really do the deep dive, and you go backwards, so like all the childhood stuff, like nothing is off limits. With coaching, it's less of that, it's more action focused, more problem focused, so obviously you identify what's going on and why it's going wrong, but you don't dive as deeply, but it's not that different. It's really
Hmm.
not.
Do you do more men or women?
I do women, but I do
Okay.
have like a lot of men ask me questions. So like on my social media, like a lot of men are the ones that are sending me questions and like really curious about things when it comes to intimacy and sex.
Yeah, so what is like some of the like what is some of the main things a lot of men ask you like on a consistent basis like that you get sometimes?
So I get a lot of questions about like boundaries. How can I talk to my partner about trying this or that? Is it weird that I like this or that? Like those type of questions. A lot of people want to know if they're normal or not, if this is weird that I like to do this or not. And I find that it's mostly men who ask those types of questions. Like women are not asking me that.
Wow.
That's because as men you do like, oh man, she gonna look at me a certain way if I allow her to do this to me. Like I had a buddy, I had a dude telling me how his woman pegged him. Yeah, and I know Drake closes his eyes, but
It was definitely an
he
episode.
broke it down. Yeah, we had a whole episode of that. You remember the guy? We had a whole episode
I
of that.
remember, man.
Yeah. We had a whole episode about a man, and she finally eventually caught him doing it to himself, and she kicked him to. Yeah, he got rid of her. I guess that's what the weirdness comes in, like
I'm curious to know
Uh,
what do women mostly ask, or what when they need
yeah.
coaching. Sorry, Kev, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
for
that's
I
good.
mean for
The other
women
Kev.
it's a little bit different. It's more so like confidence based or like pleasure based. So like how can I be more confident? Like oh my body has changed. So like my libido is different. Like my desire to do these things. I'm not in the mood as much as anymore. Or like not really enjoying it. So like I know y'all know about like DJ envy and the whole thing. Like about 60% of women have faked an orgasm before. And there's plenty of women who do not have orgasms when they have sex. Like they just don't. And so I think that a lot of the questions are like, well, like what do I do? Like how do I fix that?
Wow.
Jeez.
That is a good question though. For those who can't accomplish the goal, it's like what I was saying earlier. You gonna go hard to make sure that you still got it. That day that you don't accomplish that goal, you're gonna be like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Something ain't right, and you start to question yourself. That's when that self confidence starts to
Mm.
lower. You know what I mean?
That's happened to me before.
Yeah. I mean, to all of us, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've all felt the wrath of the self confidence.
Oh yeah.
Do you find do you see it more easier for men to ask you what women would be interested in and the type of things that they're doing, rather than women asking you because you're the opposite sex? Maybe it's harder for a woman to ask you what they might think a man would be more pleasurable because you don't stand in the shoes of a man. So, and then a man could actually ask you that with an answer to actually have a trial and error basis.
Mm, maybe. I've never really thought about it just because the women don't ask me too much about like what men like. I think a lot of it is very much like because speaking from a woman, like I've been a woman my whole life, I can't speak on anything else, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of times, especially throughout your whole sexual lifetime, right? So, like a lot of times, like you said, you could tell when she's doing it for you. A lot of times, women are doing it for that other person. And so it's not that they're looking for, okay, what can I do to please this person? Because a lot of times, women are not as assertive or aggressive within their sex. So they're not orchestrating it. A lot of times the men are. So like I assume that if you orchestrating it, you doing what you like. They're not really worried too much about that. They're worried about like, okay, what do I like? Because if all this time I'm doing it for you. I'm allowing you to run it. You are the leader. I'm following you. I don't know what I like. So a lot of times women, that's not even a question that comes up with me. And it might be partially also due to the fact that I don't have a penis, so I can't tell you what pleases one. I can tell you a little bit, but I don't know from firsthand experience. So I can't vouch for it in that way. So that might have something to do with it. And men obviously can ask me. But I mean, I don't give that much of like my personal opinion. It's what I find from doing the work. So either way, like, doesn't matter who's asking, it comes from the work.
Wow. I guess you never think about it like that. Like even as men, I never think about it like that. I'm thinking like, all right, we coming to you, yo. What you think? Kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, do you find that most of your clients maybe get it misconstrued and like treat you like a friend to come to, or is it straight up professional? Like, and I mean that with women as well. Like coming to you like, girl, what you think I should do? You know what I mean?
So not so much that some of the men get a little crazy, but I just block you. Like, I'm not doing that. So generally though, most people I think are really just needing an answer from someone that's not their friend. So like, you know what your friend's gonna say most of the time anyway. You know what they're gonna say. Like, we've had conversations about this sort of topic before. And sometimes I don't even want y'all to know like what me and my man doing or what is missing from what me and my man are doing. Like, I don't want y'all to know that anyway. So it's helpful to go to a professional. So I think that most of the people who are asking me questions are generally looking for a professional's opinion on it. The people who are looking for like a friend or just like, oh, this is exciting, like, oh, she's gonna talk about something nasty. Like, I just don't give it energy. So I don't really have too much of that.
And you know what? That's respectable though, because like then nobody try. Well, I ain't gonna say nobody, but then you don't get tried with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
People get that flip flop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
So how, like, I asked this question, but I want to ask you is like how important it is to start like redating your partner again. Like, say y'all been together for 10 years. How important is it to go back to like trying to treat it like day one?
Extremely. Like, you fell in love in the beginning, right? So like, I didn't meet you and then 10 years later I'm in love with you. Now that we're doing the boring stuff, like we're paying bills and we're washing dishes and making dinner every night. Like, those are not the things that I fell in love with. Yes, those things can be beautiful in their own ways, but that's not why or how I fell in love. I fell in love when we were getting to know each other, when we're having these deep, long conversations. I fell in love when we were going on dates and spending a lot of time together, doing new things together. I fell in love when it was all new and exciting because we're taking in new information. And like I said before, we take in new information every day. Like, I learn something new about myself every day. So of course, there's going to be something to learn about your partner every day as well, right? And we have to really make an effort to do that. Because a lot of times we don't stop and have those long, deep conversations. We don't stop and really make it intentional to go on dates and try new things just the way that we used to before. And even when it comes to like scheduling sex and intimacy, a lot of people get real weird about that. And they are like so opposed to it. They're like, it should just happen. But it didn't just happen when you were dating. Like, you had to be like, yo, you free on Friday? Like, yo, and even if it's just a friends with benefits situation, you'd be like, you up? Like, I know ahead of time. Like, that's you letting me know ahead of time. Like, I know we're planning it. It's a schedule. Same thing. Like, do that now. Like, what makes it different now?
Yeah.
I'm about to hit my wife with that you
Oh
up
yeah,
text.
yo, she's smoking it right now. I ain't. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely smoking it though.
Yeah, my wife hits me with a "Are you up?" text, and I'd be like, "Yeah, what's up?" And she'd be like, "I'm hungry." I'm like, oh, okay. What do you want to get? You want to get something to eat? And she'll say something ridiculous like buffalo chicken dip. It's 9:00 in the morning.
Buffalo chicken.
Yeah, so yeah, I get those text messages and get a little hype and don't get it. What I think is going to happen.
I think I
Yeah.
might.
You know what I mean?
So business wise, like I don't know. Listen, I don't know if you're comfortable talking about money, but if I were, because I know you say you deal with mostly women, but you're obviously open to helping men as well. Like if I were looking for you to help me out, to coach me, you know what I mean? Like how would I go about that? Like and honestly, what how can I word this properly? What echelon of customer financially? You dealing with lawyers or me as the guy at McDonald's, me and my baby mom having some trouble, or my wife having some trouble? Can I come to you? Like, how does that go? If that makes any
Um,
sense.
so I mean, technically, we make way for the things that we want, right? So technically, anybody, I like if you can budget and figure it out, it would be anybody. But it's not like a cheap thing. I'll say that. And I hate to think of things as far as cheap and expensive because
Right.
it's based on the value that you get. Like when I went to therapy, when I hired my own sex coach, and just the work of me going to school to become a therapist, all of the techniques and all the things that I was doing for myself, like all of that is priceless. I spent tens of thousands of dollars to
Absolutely.
become the person that I am. And I would do it again. Like I would continue to do that because this is important to me in order to be the best version of myself, in order to be my most honest and truthful self, to be able to feel free and uninhibited, and to be fulfilled and happy. Like that to me is priceless. So I would pay whatever. So ideally, I don't want people to spend their last on it. And I would never recommend that. You want to make sure that you're in a good enough space to pay for it. But I do have different ways of helping people. So I have free stuff. I have 69 sex questions. So if you're just needing to start to have conversations with yourself or with your partner, and you're not sure what to talk about, I have that. It's free. So it's not something you have to spend money on. I have courses. One of my courses is about confidence. It's like $37. So it very affordable things, right? I also have a course, which is what that book is for. It's called Better Sex Guide to Confidence, Satisfaction, and Orgasms Without Faking. And that is $9.99. And then if you want to work with me personally, it's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
That's
So
how. Yeah, I'm
not
sorry.
bad.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, like, how do people find you and reach out to you? Like, how do they get in contact with you?
So typically I spend the most time on Instagram. And my Instagram is Shamaree LAB. So that's S as in Sam, HA, M as in Mary, AREELAB. So Shamaree Lab, basically. But there in my bio, there is my Easy Tree link. If you click on that, you'll see everything. So it's a little bio about me. You'll see how you can work with me. I do free breakthrough calls. So if you think you might want to work with me, or you think you want some type of service, but you're not 100% sure, we get on the phone, 30-minute call. I can help guide you and figure out if it's something that would work for you, if it's something that would be helpful, if we're a good match. But you'll also see the courses and you'll see all of the free stuff too.
Wow.
That's
I feel like
awesome.
that's a way to run a successful business anyway. Like especially nowadays, because it's like, hey, if I want customers, I ain't gonna say if I need, or clients, excuse me. Not everybody is willing to say, all right, let me fork over X amount of money. But an ebook, a course, or anything like that, that could get them in the door to where now I could trust what you say. Obviously, we're doing a podcast. I can hear you know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like you could tell with somebody just going kind of, we said just a bunch of outlandish things today. And you pretty much kept it professional, like,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, well, listen, do X, Y, and Z. But you need to trust people before before you hand it over. But I can tell that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that means a lot.
Thank you. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I want it to be accessible. So like obviously working with me, like I have a lot of education, I have a lot of experience. It's not going to be $20. It's not. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not the one for you if that's what you're looking for. But I do have other options. So a lot of people, sometimes they feel uncomfortable talking to a person about it anyway. So it's easier for them to start with, okay, I'll do a course, because technically I'm getting the information. You have videos of me talking. So you have me explaining, giving examples. There's a whole workbook. So you have tons of activities and things that you can do. You're just not going to get feedback from me. So you still get the information, you still have it. You can do it on your own. You don't have to feel ashamed or guilty or shy about whatever it is that is going on with you. But it usually is most effective if you are able to get that feedback, because I could sit in my thoughts all day. But sometimes you just need to get them out and talk to another person who can give you an alternate perspective. And I am a professional, so it's not just my personal opinion that I'm telling you about. These are things that I've actually had education around. Like, there's research. I can show you why and where this is coming from.
Wow. All right. I have one last question. Have you ever been interested in doing any like I don't want to say group therapy, but like any group sessions where maybe there's multiple people who come out to a certain event and then you kind of it's hard to explain, but like any group coaching, you know what I mean, for people who are interested in bettering themselves. You
Seminars,
ever
right?
huh?
That's where you're looking for, like seminar.
Seminar. There you go.
Yeah.
You ever been
Mm.
interested in doing anything like that? I'm just curious because I've never seen it.
I mean, eventually I would. Yeah, definitely. I think that right now I'm focused more on like the virtual stuff. You know, the pandemic happened,
Yeah.
everybody went crazy. So everything went virtual, but definitely like that is the goal, to be able to grow in order to do those things and to maybe go different places, to reach people in person. Because again, like I said, it's not that many people that look like me that are doing what I'm doing. And I want people to know that you have the option. Like, if you're looking for it, you have the option.
All right, we're getting close to the end of the interview, so we want you to anything you have to promote, your social media, books, or anything to look to towards in the future. We want you to take your time, give it all to us.
Yes, so definitely make sure you go to my Instagram. That's the easiest way to find me, Shamaree LAB. And from there, like I said, click on the link in my bio. That is my easy treat. It's going to have everything that I offer, everything. So all of my social medias, my email, if you need to send me a message. I don't give advice in DMs or anything like that. But like I said, I do free 30-minute calls. So if you are interested in having a call with me because you have a specific question or circumstance that you think I can answer in 30 minutes, then we could do that. Or if you just are curious to see if we are a good match to work with one another, then definitely book the call, and we can go ahead and get that started. There's also the courses. If you're more comfortable working on your own, I get it. I was there before. I wanted to do it on my own. It takes longer, but you could do it. You
Right.
could do it. And those are available as well. I have a journal too, and that's on Amazon. And it's based on the course and like the things that I talk about in the course. But it's like a bullet and a written journal. So it's pretty good. I made my husband try it, and he said it's actually not that bad. And he's a man who doesn't like to journal, so I think
That
that's pretty good.
absolutely. I journal. All right. So, if you could leave our listeners with anything, any last words or any words, because I don't think it's the last time you'll be on, what would you like to let our listeners know?
So when it comes to sex, intimacy, foreplay, all of that, I want people to open their minds. So with anything in life, really, but especially with those things, open your mind. I know that we get older, we get into patterns, we get grown, we think we're too grown for the things that we used to get excited for. So I used to tell my husband all the time, like, why don't people like make it a thing to like dry hump and give hand jobs? Like, we don't do that anymore. as you get older, or you do it less often. It's not like a thing. But like we used to get so hyped when we were able to do that as kids. Like go back to those excitements. Like it's okay to do things that are childish. They're not really childish. Children shouldn't be doing that anyway. So keep an open mind, do the things that you used to like to do, see how it feels now, try to find new things, even if it's simple, like changing location, changing temperatures, changing hands, changing those smaller things, and then that's going to open your mind to the bigger things eventually as well.
Good words.
Good word. So we're gonna wrap this thing up. Listen, everybody who's gonna check this episode here in the future, please check out our website. Please check out our Instagram and all the websites and everything she got going. We are the Opinionated Podcast. I know did the whole radio host thing on the podcast.
Dre looking at you like, tell me what not to do, and here you go.
That was good. That was good. But we would like to thank our guest. We always leave it to our guests. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you. And
just stay right there because we got some things that we got to tell you, but we're wrapping up this interview.
Yeah. And that's Opinionated.
I could have cut all that out.
Yeah.
Nah, it's all good. It's a podcast.